Hey everyone, welcome to the Sexless Marriage Affirmations channel. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Tim. I'm the host of this channel, and I'll be getting started in just a minute. Just give some people a chance to join the live stream. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, hello everyone, welcome to the channel, Sexless Marriage Affirmations. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Tim. I'm the host of this channel, and I really appreciate you joining me tonight. And we're going to talk about something tonight, and every time I'm on this channel, talk about something that's very raw, very real, and profoundly painful. We're going to talk about something that many of us have been hiding and burying and trying to ignore, trying to heal from. I think the title says it all. I haven't touched a woman in 5 years. 5 long years and more of emptiness, of longing that digs deeper into my bones with every passing day. 5 years of reaching out with open hands, an open heart, only to feel the cold, unyielding reality that we find nothing in return. I've spent 5 years, and maybe some of you have spent a lot longer, staring at the ceiling at night, wondering what happened to the closeness, to the warmth, to the intimacy that once filled our lives. 5 years of waking up alone, even in a shared bed, feeling that the space between us has widened into a chasm that we cannot seem to cross. 5 years of our souls crying out in desperation, only to be met with silence. 5 years and more of searching for answers, questioning everything we thought we knew about ourselves, about our worth, our value, our place in the world. Asking ourselves, am I not good enough to be loved? Sometimes the questions are questions like, was I not attractive enough? Was I not interesting enough? Was I not loving enough to be touched, to be wanted? What did I do wrong? It's often years of doubting every single thing about yourself, trying desperately to figure out, why was I left untouched? Why was I left unloved and unseen? As those years go by, you often feel like a stranger in your own skin. And you wonder, maybe I was destined to live this way forever, like a ghost in my own marriage, like a phantom haunting the edges of my own life. 5 years and more that seemed at times like the slow death of my soul, a death by 1,000 small invisible cuts. Every day was a new wound, another reminder of what I was missing, of what I could no longer feel and enjoy and delight in. Year after year, every day felt like walking through a barren wasteland, yearning for even a single touch, a whisper in the dark, a hug, a touch of the hand, a moment of connection that never came. Years of wondering if we had done something wrong, if we were being punished, if this was all our fault. Years of feeling trapped in a cold, unfeeling void where hope just seemed to fade a little bit more with each passing day. Years have left scars that we can't see, but we feel them every moment of every day. Years and years of our hearts aching to be seen, to be held, to be loved, and instead finding nothing but emptiness. And I know that for many of you, those resonate, those words, those concepts, those pictures, they resonate so deeply. And I know that some of you are out there right now feeling that same ache that I'm talking about, the same loss, that same sense of bewilderment. I know because I've lived it, and I know because many of you have shared your stories with me and told me about going through the same experience. I've lived that very strange, surreal experience of being in a marriage, one that's supposed to be filled with love and intimacy. And instead, you feel like a ghost, like a shadow of yourself. I've walked, and I know many of you have walked that path of endless nights, lying next to someone who used to be our lover, but feeling like we were worlds apart. I want to hold space for your pain on this channel, for our confusion, for our suffering, because if you're in a sexless marriage, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what it's like to feel untouched, unloved, and unseen. And you know the bizarre reality of living with someone who should be your closest companion, but instead feels like a stranger. You know what it feels like to lie in the same bed, your bodies so close, but your hearts a million miles apart. You know what it feels like to turn over in the night and you hope to feel their warmth, but instead all you find is cold sheets and a cold shoulder. This pain that I'm talking about is not just about a lack of sex. It's about the lack of emotional connection. It's about them shutting you out on so many levels. You're not just losing a sexual partner, you're losing a best friend. It's the absence of that comforting touch, that gentle kiss, that loving embrace that says, I'm here, I see you, I want you, we're in this together. It feels like you're living in a desert. You're thirsting for something so simple and so basic, and yet it's perpetually out of reach. So close and yet so far. I longed to hold her close, to feel her head rest against my chest, to feel her arms wrapped around me, to breathe in her scent, to feel the softness of her skin, to caress her body and delight in her breasts, and to know in that moment that everything is right because you're together and because your love is real and deep. And when that connection is missing, that kind of isolation is absolutely devastating. So let's talk about the pain. Let's really talk about it, because I know how deep it goes. It's a pain that's not just physical. It's emotional, it's psychological, and it's even spiritual. For at least 5 years and more, I woke up every day with an invisible weight on my chest, a heaviness that just never lifted. It's that ache of feeling like you're starving for affection, for a desire, for a moment of genuine human connection. It's that deep, gnawing hunger to feel her hands run across your skin and to run your hands across hers. To feel her fingertips trace your back and for yours to trace her back. To undress her slowly, to enjoy her curves, to delight in her femininity, to savor every inch of her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. Because she was. And then there's the shame. So much shame. That feeling that maybe you're the problem. Maybe you crave affection too much. Maybe your sex drive is too high. Maybe if you were more attractive, more interesting, more something, maybe then things will be different. And you start to internalize that shame. And it wraps around you like a cold blanket and suffocates you. It tries to convince you you're not worthy of love or touch or intimacy. Maybe you've started to tell yourself that you don't deserve it. This is your fault. You've told yourself maybe there's something fundamentally broken in you. You feel like you're under the table begging for scraps. And even those small scraps never come. The shame is a lie. It's a lie that the shame tells us to keep us trapped, to keep us small, to keep us silent. I want to be challenging that lie and calling it out for what it is. It's a prison of the mind. It's built brick by all these memories, and it builds walls of fears, insecurities, and doubts. And it's a prison that too many of us are living in right now. We feel afraid to speak out, afraid to admit just how deeply we're hurting. We spent years telling ourselves we would wait for the right person, and that when we finally found that person and when we chose our love, we would also love our choice forever. But what do you do when the person that you chose, the person you gave yourself to, becomes a constant reminder of what you're actually missing? You learn eventually over time to break the silence and to tear down some of these walls of shame. You really have to come to a place where you face the truth of what it means to live in a sexless marriage. It isn't just sad. This experience is soul crushing. It's waking up every day feeling a little bit less alive, a little bit less hopeful, a little bit less like you're yourself, a little bit less human, a little bit more mechanical, a little bit more gray and sad and depressing. And it feels like you're just slowly disappearing, like you're fading away into the background of your own life. You're craving the most basic, the simplest of things: a touch, a kiss, a moment when you feel desired and you just feel alive. I remember feeling that way, feeling like I was just existing, not really living. And I would look at other couples who seemed so happy, so in love, so connected, and I would wonder, what's their secret? Why can't I have that? What did I do to lose everything? Why don't I deserve to be loved? And I've wondered myself many times if I am fundamentally unlovable, if there is something in me that was just wrong. And maybe you think the same thing. And that kind of self-doubt, that kind of self-blame, it's so toxic and it's so unhelpful. It can eat away at you little by little until there's so little left. You become almost a hollow shell. And maybe some of you are feeling that way right now. Maybe you feel like you're losing yourself, like you're fading slowly into the shadows of a marriage that just no longer feels like home. And maybe you feel like every day is just another reminder of what you don't have, what you're missing, and maybe what you never will have. At least not in this marriage. If that's where you are, I just want to let you know that I see you. I feel your pain. I understand deeply what it's like to live in that quiet hell day in and day out. And I understand that it's a very strange kind of grief. It's a grief for something that isn't gone but isn't really there. It's a grief for the intimacy that was once so very natural, so very important, so very effortless. And now it just feels like a distant memory. It's like grieving a relationship that's still technically alive, but emotionally, intimately, it's just dead and gone. And that kind of loss doesn't just hurt, it shatters. It absolutely, profoundly, endlessly shatters. It leaves you feeling broken over and over in ways that are hard to put into words. Maybe some of you have tried to talk to your partner or spouse about it. Maybe you tried to reach out to them, express your needs, your desires, your pain, and all you were met with was silence, defensiveness, anger, coldness. And each time that happens, and as you eventually learn to stop talking about it, it's like another little piece of your heart just breaks off and dies. It feels sometimes like you're just screaming into a void, hoping for some kind of response, some kind of understanding, and you just get nothing back. It's that empty space where a touch used to be, where their warmth used to be there to comfort you, and your warmth used to comfort them. And their love used to lift you up, and your love would lift them up. And now it's just a sad, vacant space. And you sometimes just feel like you got to wonder, am I crazy? Am I asking too much? Am I just being selfish? But isn't this part of what we married for? Isn't this part of what it meant to be alive and to be two humans that love each other so deeply? You start to doubt yourself, you start to doubt your worth, even your sanity. You start to believe maybe you're the one who's broken, who's flawed, who's unworthy of love. And then it's a very, very, very cruel place to be. I'm here to tell you, you're not broken. You're not unworthy. Your needs are valid. Your desire for touch, for connection, for intimacy, it's not just normal, it's essential. It's part of what makes us human, part of what makes life meaningful, rich, beautiful. If you're not seeing that in your marriage, or you didn't see it in your marriage and your marriage is over, it's normal and okay and necessary to feel very disappointed and hurt and devastated. It's okay to feel like something beautiful has been taken away from you. And it's okay to admit that sex is a need. It is one of the most beautiful, lovely, fulfilling, healing parts of life. And the lack of it, especially long term, is a source of overwhelming pain and devastation. This isn't what you signed up for. You didn't get married so you could just enjoy a cold shoulder for the rest of your life. You didn't get married so you could have someone who treats you worse than a roommate. This isn't just about the act of sex itself. It's about the yearning, the deep aching need to feel your partner's body next to yours, to feel her breath on your skin, to undress her slowly, to savor every second, every sigh, every curve that makes her who she is. It's about wanting to kiss her passionately, deeply, to feel her lips against yours, to feel that spark, that electricity that tells you you're alive and you're wanted and you're loved. It's about the hunger to caress her, to run your hands over every inch of her body, to feel the softness of her breasts beneath your hands, to trace her collarbone with your lips and to taste her skin, to feel her body react to your touch, to hear her whisper your name in the dark, to hear her moan in pleasure, to come together and to end the night as one. It's about that intimacy of holding her tight, feeling her warmth pressed against you, knowing in that moment you are both exactly where you belong. It's about making love not just with your body, but with your mind and your heart and your soul, your entire being. It's about lying there afterwards together in the quiet moments, in the dark, holding each other close, feeling your heartbeats slowly next to each other, feeling your fingers trace each other's skin, and feeling just that deep, satisfying peace that comes when you know you're connected to someone, body and soul, that you love and adore and are so glad to be with. It's about falling asleep together, her head resting on your chest, your arms wrapped around her, knowing in that moment you're both safe, held, loved. But when that's missing, when that's all gone, it feels like a part of you is dying. It's the feeling of reaching out in the dark, desperate to find a hand to hold, and coming up with nothing but air. It's the agony of lying in bed night after night, feeling like you're screaming inside, feeling like you're drowning in a sea of silence, feeling like you're slowly disappearing. It's that desperate longing to touch and to be touched, to love and be loved, to hold and be held, and to feel like it might never happen again. It's a pain that cuts to the core. It's a pain that makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself, about love, about relationships, about marriage, about life itself. What I would want to share in conclusion, and to hopefully have you know in your heart, is that you are not alone in this. You're not the only one who feels this way. There are so many of us out there who know this pain, who feel it, feel that longing, who know the emptiness so clearly. I'm here to tell you it's okay to feel that pain. It's okay to acknowledge it and to say, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with being unloved and untouched for years at a time. That's just one of many steps towards healing. But we need to take steps toward reclaiming our worth, our dignity, our right to be loved, to be touched, to be seen, to not be mistreated, not be treated like we're simply a roommate or worse. I want to continue to have these conversations on this channel. to talk about the hard stuff, the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, to hold space for each other and to support each other, to remind each other we're not alone in this. And the truth is, there's so many of us out there who are struggling. I know, because many of you reach out to me on a regular basis and you're hurting. You're looking for answers, for hope, for a way out of the darkness. And you know that in many ways it might never come, at least not in the marriage you're in. I want you to know you are worthy of love, of intimacy, of connection, of affection. You're worthy of feeling wanted, feeling desired, of feeling seen. You're worthy of passion. You're worthy of eroticism. And whatever path you choose, whether it's staying and working on your marriage or finding the strength to leave and seek out the love that you deserve elsewhere, we want to build a community that supports each other. We want to support you. We're here to walk this journey together with you, to hold some kind of space for you, even over this channel and the different platforms that we have to talk about these topics, but to remind each other that we are not alone. And you're not alone. Not now, not ever. We are creating spaces for each other where we can be real, we can be honest, we can be vulnerable, and hopefully where we can do some healing. But healing starts with telling the truth about what we've been through, what we were feeling, how we've been treated and mistreated, about what we want and need. So thank you very much for being here with me today. I appreciate this, hopefully the first of many conversations, in addition to the regular ASMR affirmations that are on this channel. I'll be doing more of both the live streams as well as the affirmations. But please be courageous. And I do want to thank you for your willingness to face some of this pain head on, for your commitment to your own healing, to your own growth, to your own journey. I want to be a part of that with you. And I promise you, we will find our way through this. There will be better days coming. We will take it one step at a time, but we will find our way to better days. Thank you so much for letting me talk about these things in my heart tonight. I have a lot more to share over the next few weeks and months. Hopefully this will be a place of encouragement and healing for some of you. So stay strong, my friends. You're not alone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a good night.